Lord. You guys, so excited to have Kelsie on here. I just always think it's fun for you guys to hear from other people that's not me. And honestly, even if people do the same thing, it's always good to know that other people struggle, other people have the same fears and reservations and struggles with the business. You're not alone. So super excited. If you guys have questions, either type them in the chat or just save them to the end. Because it always is more fun when calls when people, you can get some conversation going and stuff. But she's going to give us all her little tips and tricks on inviting and kind of tell her story a little bit. She is actually one of Micah's PS coaches. You're Diamond, right? Or are you 1-star? Diamond? Okay. She's going to unmute herself.
Diamond. Sorry, I was like, oh yeah, I'm still muted.
You're good. Yeah, so Diamond, and honestly, like, you've been coaching for a little while. You'll obviously tell your story, but I've really noticed just the past like year, 6 months even, since like probably January, February, I've noticed like her confidence is skyrocketed and her transformation, she's killing it. So we're excited to hear from you, and I'll just mute myself. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions, you guys. So
yes. Yeah, so that's how I was going to start anyways. I'm going to share my story, but guys, please, especially for me, like, I vibe more on a call if you guys are typing questions over here, because I'm like a fly on the wall anyways. I'm going to go like random places and you're probably going to have to be like, okay, wait, she's supposed to be talking about inviting, because I'll go off the wall. But I want you guys to ask questions as we go, definitely after, but definitely as we go, so we can keep the conversation going. So with my stories, I was like, man, it's been a hot minute since I like told the full version. And then I was like, oh, I was that crappy person that like Micah invited me when she lived. By the way, I live in Oklahoma. And so I am 25 now. I had to think about it. Single, hopefully for not too much longer. And actually, Micah messaged me when she was living here in Oklahoma and with her hubby or your brother going to OSU. I was actually going to OSU as well during that time. And so she had messaged me and I like totally kind of just wrote her off. And I was that really like bad person that went behind her back and bought T25 off of the internet and got some like somewhat results. Like I would do it occasionally when I felt like it, had no accountability. I actually did it with one of my coworkers. And then I graduated college and I messaged her and I was like, hey, you're so dang happy all the time. Why are you so freaking happy all the time? And I was just like angry at her for being happy all the time. So I was like, what is going on? I was like, tell me about this coaching thing. So before I even hop in and talk about the rest of my story inviting, I just want you guys to hook onto that and realize like it was almost a year and a half later when I followed up with her, and like I followed up with her about coaching. Not even like the challenge groups. Like, yes, I was ready for that, but I was like, dude, what is it? Like, put me in. Like, I was ready to go. And so I think that was the best part to me, is like to even look back at my stories. I'm telling you guys, I'm like, holy crap. Like, I'm that person that I'm like, why don't you just jump in? I don't understand. You keep watching my stories. You keep doing all these things and liking my stuff, but you won't jump in. So now Cozy was totally correct. So that was 3 years ago when I finally joined Micah. And I would say like I dabbled in coaching. It was definitely something that I used as my accountability. Like, yep, I'm going to post my day one. I'm going to show up occasionally. I'm going to dabble in it. And I dabbled in it for 2 years, because right at 2.5 years, because Cozy was correct. 6 months ago, I was like, what am I doing? All these other people that joined the same time as I did, like they're not doing anything magical. And you guys know that, like Cozy shared with my team earlier, they're showing up for an hour a day. I have an hour. I don't have any kids. Like you guys that do it with kids, like I think you guys are pros. But I think that I'm just like putting another level on myself, is like all I'm doing is excuses. I say that I want these things, but obviously I don't. And so I finally was like, let's just do it. Like, let's just see if this consistency thing, which I see somebody messaged over here, is for reals. Like, is consistency really what the magic is? And it is, y'all. I have done nothing special. I work full time. My hours are kind of crazy during certain times of the year. And Cozy shared it too. Like, I do not want to do my power hour sometimes. The last thing that I wanted to do for the longest time was send invites, because it's just like that thing that I put off until you learn how to eat the frog. Does everybody know about eating the frog? You do it first. And so that's how I first switched that over. I decided, okay, I'm going to be consistent for a whole entire year. Y'all, we're only 6, I guess we're like 7, 8 months in now. But like, I was like, okay, this is working. I'm not doing anything special. I'm doing the power hour. I'm showing up on some team calls when I can. I'll be honest. I watch or listen to the recording, so I'm in the shower. Like, it's just being consistent for an hour a day. And that hour for me is on my lunch break, if I'm being honest. Like, Thursday nights are my favorite because, like, my boyfriend goes and golfs and, like, does his thing. And so I do all my team calls and, like, my extra work. But I literally only have an hour a day. So yes, consistency is where it is at, girlfriends. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And so in the last, I would say 9 months now, probably, of me truly being consistent with my power hours and my invites, my team has I've created an environment and community that I wanted. Yes, I want the success. Yes, you need to read Eat the Frog First. What's the real name, Cozy? With the book, like when you eat the frog first. I can't remember.
I think that's what it's called.
It is? Okay. I was like, man, maybe that's not right. Okay. Yeah. It's really good. That's the one I would suggest. Where was I at? Yeah. So I just wanted to say, like, our team, we are hustling. And I think what's the coolest part is, like I said, I just wanted to know, like, Micah was so happy and why she had all these friends, because though I'm really outgoing, I'd never had like that sisterly bond. And I just wanted that, and I have that now. And that is what also helps me show up. And so I think it's also taking your mindset off of the ranks, and the pay and the stuff, because I promise you, girls, I'm not going to brag on myself, but that stuff will come. Okay, it's coming, and I know, and you have to do that too. You have to have a positive mindset. Like, I know that stuff's coming for me because I've just created this killer environment of women. And so, like, we deserve it. We're going to have it. So it's headed our way. You just watch us. We're almost there. And so with that, I'm going to dive into inviting now, but that's just a little bit about my story to let you guys know. I think Cozy is a great example of as well, as like, just because you don't see immediate results of like what you think success is supposed to be, which that's definitely what I thought, like ranks, pay, everything. It's not. You get so much more out of this when you're consistent. So with inviting, I think the main thing and overall theme that you guys will see in this is, yes, we are in the people business. We are here to help people, and I think they said this on the National Wake Up Call or one of the other calls we've got the opportunity to listen to this week, but success is all in the numbers. It's the numbers game at the end of the day. And that doesn't have to be a large number of invites. I think that's one thing that I went in thinking, like, oh my gosh, I have to send, like, these girls are talking about like 500 to 600 invites and they have these competitions. And I'm like, it's ain't gonna happen. It's ain't gonna happen with my 1 hour that I got, because I gotta connect, I gotta expand, I gotta do all the other things. And also I had to be honest with myself, as I'm not doing enough connecting and expanding, like enough to be sending out in my personality to be sending out 500 to 600 invites a day, because I don't want to be sending those out. I don't want them to be cold. And some people, that's their jam. They just want to get that number out. And because you got to hear one of my coaches say this earlier, they're like, I don't mind sending invites. It's just when they say yes. And I'm like, what? She just told me that today. And I'm like, you want them to say yes. But she was scared of what they would say or what she would have to say if they said yes. And I'm like, you just tell them how badass we are. Like, what do you mean? And so I think that's the thing, is like, we get caught up in the other thing of like, okay, it's just a numbers game, but it's only a numbers game, in my opinion, in the beginning. Like, in your invites, like, set a number in your head. Like, what are your goals? And I think Cozy can work with each one of you guys to backwards engineer. Like, if you're trying to hit this, you need to be at least doing this many a day. And that's kind of what Micah talked about. It depends kind of what your schedule. For some people, it's really like, I need to send 20 or have an invite blitz where you do it like 1 day a week and you just do them all at once and you're like, okay, it's out of the way. Like, and then I'll message these people as they come in. For me, I'm more of like, I want a solid in my head power hour. And so I like to send 5 to 10 a day. But you know, sometimes I'll go back and look and I was like, holy crap, I just got in the groove and I sent 20. That's great. My goal for tomorrow is still 5 to 10. Okay, so somebody else said the same thing. We're gonna have to chat about this more, Cozy. Like how, like we got to figure out, like, don't freeze. She sent me the funniest like GIF. She was like, I'm frozen. And it was like this guy off of The Office. He's like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, stop, you're freaking me out. So you have to, we'll talk about that in a minute. I'll make sure I don't forget about it. But yes, it is a numbers game, but we're still in the people. So you have to kind of, and I think that's what I talked to Cozy. I was like, I had to take the emotional piece out of the inviting. Don't get me wrong, I'm an extremely emotional person. So that was a very challenging thing for me. And another thing that I found out about, it's so funny, but this is another point. See, I'm all over the place, is you get what you put out in the universe. Seriously, I have been trying to figure out what's going on with my team. Like, hey girl, I know you were doing all the things, and they really are. I'm seeing it. I know they're not lying to me. But like, what's going on? And I found out like they're going in and sending invites with negative thoughts, hoping they say no. Like, do some of you guys do that? Like, be honest. Let me know in the chat. Like, all right, some of you guys like, I hope they say no. I don't really want to talk to them about it. Like, I checked it off my power hour, but I don't really want them to say. And then I think the other thing is like going in not hoping they're gonna say no, but this is another thing is you're like, they're gonna say no. I know they're gonna say no. Like, I haven't connected with them enough, or well, she's not gonna be on my, like, she doesn't like me enough. That's just not gonna work. Or she's a mom, I'm not a mom, she's not gonna relate to me, so she's totally gonna say no. Or just those things, like going in. Again, literally all this came in today, and I was like, guys, I'm talking to Cozy's team about inviting today, and you're telling me what you're struggling with is invites? I'm really confused. So we're going to have our own call about invites. So it's really like you're talking about things, the universe is going to bring them to you. So if it's negative thoughts, if you're thinking you don't want this to happen, like that's what you're going to get. You're gonna freak out. You're telling yourself, I'm gonna freak out if somebody says yes. I'm gonna freak out if somebody says yes. Don't do that, because you are gonna freak out, because you just told yourself you're gonna freak out. Or don't go in and say, this girl is too cool for me. Like, there's no way she's gonna join me. That is what's gonna happen. She is going to say no. The universe is going to give you what you're asking for. So first thing, mindset. We preach it all the time with our personal development, but like, hand to Bible. You have to go in thinking like this is going to be the best person ever. Now you're like, okay, but you just told me to take emotion out of it. It's not like putting all your eggs in one basket is what I mean by don't be emotional. Be like, oh my God, if she doesn't say yes, like I'm not going to hit Success Club. Like, I'm not going to hit it this month. Don't say that, because you know what? And how many times this has happened to me? I will send out those 20 invites I'm talking about, and all of them might say no or ignore me. But literally maybe the next day, I get someone that reached out and said, okay, girl, I'm in. Like, what do I need to do? From a follow, I didn't even follow up with her. Like today I went in, and this girl like from 2 years ago messaged me as like, hey, I'm in a much better place and I'm ready to have some help. And I just had got 20 no's today, guys. And so that's the thing, is you have to just go in, not emotionally, but positively to a message. I guess that's what I want to say. Like, don't hang your hat on like, if she says no, it's all over. I'm not going to hit Success Club. I'm so emotional. If she says no, it's going in like, she's going to say yes. I'm super positive about this. I can't wait to hear back from her. Then it's done. It's not, don't come back when you're going to sleep and you're like, oh, Cindy is not going to talk to me tomorrow at the office. I can't believe I sent her that invite. Oh my gosh. Like, don't hang on that. Just let it go. It's in the universe. Because I think somebody else said on that, I want to say it was Danielle Natoni that said it last night or something. But you do not get to decide if somebody wants your help or not. And I think that was the biggest thing that like was like, holy crap, like who the frick am I? I didn't cuss. I am a cusser, but I did not cuss that time. Who am I to try and figure out if that girl needs my help or not? Like, that's not my decision. You have to let them have the emotions. Like, are they ready to be there? Are they ready to do that? Thank you, Cameron. I don't know if I'm funny or just like delirious. There's just, we just don't know. But like that really hit me, and I've heard it before, but I just heard it again last night, and I'm like, you're right. Like, who the frick am I to decide if she wants to join me or not? Like, if she doesn't, cool. I hope I get to help her sister one day. Like, you just don't know how it's going to impact down the road. So that would be another thing of invites, is like, open it up. I think Micah sent out that, I think that Cozy definitely shared it with you guys, but that like MM100 like message, which is like going off of that right now. Don't overcomplicate it. Use the stuff that they give us. Make it your own voice for sure. But I was like, holy crap, why am I not asking if they know of somebody that wants my help? Because I had a girl that legit was like, no girl, I'm still not really interested, but I'm definitely going to send this to like a couple of my friends because I think they would love you. Oh, okay. Like, so you're going to like invite people for me? Shoot, yeah. Okay, so write that down as notes because that was solid from Micah, but I was like, this is awesome. So if that happens or not, like, it still felt really cool for her to say like, I mean, you're badass. I'll pass you on to my friend. Like, whatever. So that felt good. Make sure you leave it open. So obviously, are you guys using, give me a hand raise, like, do you guys use the scripts that like Cozy and all of them provide for us for the most part? Okay. I was going to say, that is one thing that I don't overcomplicate things, don't have time to, I overcomplicate my life, but this business, I do not overcomplicate because you just have to keep it simple and use those scripts. The only thing I would say is make sure it does sound like you. Because if you're showing, and like, it's weird, but if you go look at other people's stuff and pages, you can tell when someone's voice is different. You want it to make sure, so it's not just because like when coaches are like, okay, here it is, but make it your own. Like, yes, it is, because we don't want you to copy us verbatim and for that to be an algorithm things. Yes, there you go. So you can say, just add something personal, but also add your voice in it. Because like, I think the best like conversations I've got going are when, sorry, must be a bug at my door and it sounds like it's really free. It like keeps, I was like, someone is in my house and I'm home alone. I'm back. But when you add in even like a personal thing, like, hey girl, how is your son? Like, that's great. But also when you're adding in, I'm trying to think what I said to somebody today. Oh, like in my invites that I sent today, I did a post about perseverance. And so I'm like, hey girl, thank you so much for liking my post about perseverance. Like, here lately, my whole journey has been having to push through and really be about perseverance. So yes, it was about my post, but also I brought in like, I'm having some major difficulties in life. And like, I'm reminding her like, hey, I'm this person. I'm not just sending you this invite to send you, like, you connected with me. We've been talking about these things. Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Don't use words that you would never use in your post. So like, I call everybody babe. That's super awkward. Some people hate that, and I might have people that I message that hate that, but that is totally me. I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, I'm so sorry. Like, that is just like me. That's how I talk. And so I feel like I have to make sure that I'm being my authentic self, because I promise you, if they're watching your stories and they're watching your posts, they know how you talk. And so if you're like, hey, girlfriend, and you don't say girlfriend in any of your posts, or you say like, hi, ma'am. Like, I don't think any of us would do that. Maybe you guys do. I don't know. But hi, ma'am. How are you? Like, it's that awkward to somebody, especially if they know you from somewhere or been watching your stuff for a long time. So that would be my other thing. Yes, make it personal to them, but also allow it to be personal for you. Let's see. I put notes because, like I said, I kind of get off. Make sure. Okay. So the other thing that I was going to mention is just an experience lately that I want to share with you guys of like, you put off these messages because you're like, scared, I think is what I'm hearing, everybody. They're scared of sending the invites. And I think it's definitely fear of rejection, especially in the beginning of your coaching. But again, like, who are we to decide? Yeah, voice messages are awesome. And I put that next to the scripts. Like, if you have the time, and I always do, like, I respond with a voice message if I'm in, like, not around people, or I send it because I think they get to hear your excitement in your voice, and it makes it so much better. But the worst message I've got to date was this girl that I was like, oh, she's so fun. Like, I love her feed. Like, I should need to invite her. And then I was like, okay, Kelsie, like, hold your roll. You should connect with her for a little bit, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, man, I'm totally vibing with her. Okay, I'm going to invite her. And I invited her like 2 or 3 weeks later. And she was like, girl, I totally would have loved to join you, but I just jumped in with this other coach that invited me last week. And I'm like, oh God. Like, literally. And she's like, I don't know her, but like, I joined with her. And I'm like, like, that's my fault. That's on me, y'all, because I was like giving myself reservation, myself fear. Oh, I haven't connected with her enough. She wouldn't want me as her coach. We hadn't even messaged. We'd liked some pictures. We hadn't even commented. And she was like, girl, I would have loved to join your group instead. She was like, you're just a hoot. And she was like, I would have loved to hang out with you. She was like, but I just signed up with this other girl. And I was like, you know what? Bless it. I wish I would have invited you sooner. So the other thing, a huge thing that I've been telling my coaches like crazy, it's a numbers game, like I mentioned earlier. So yes, you're going to send those 5 to 10 invites, or you're going to do your big blitz of invites, and a large portion of those are going to be no's. And once that you just allow that to be like, okay, it's not going to break my heart anymore, because it did every time those no's came in. And it broke my heart, especially when you're like in your warm market and you're like, but you're supposed to support me. And then like, wait, it's not about me. It's not about my business. It's about helping people. And so then you make that switch in your mind. And then you get those numbers down. A large of those are going to be no's. But what's really cool, and Kelsie said this too tonight, is like the people, when they start coming back a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, and you see all those like invites you sent, all the conversations, like maybe they've had a couple kids. Heck, I mean, and then you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, like she didn't forget me. Like the game really is in the follow-up. I wish that not every time, but I wish that there was more progress in the invites, but the progress in the invites comes in the follow-ups, in my opinion. I would say at least 80% of my challengers are all people that I followed up with. They were not people that were like, yeah, give me the info. Oh, great. That sounds awesome. I'll jump right in. That is beautiful when that happens, but maybe once a month for me, I'll be honest. And so all of mine are in follow-ups, and I was talking about follow-ups earlier, is I just sent one in my group thread of a girl that I invited. This was the 4th time I invited her, and she never replied, not one time. And she just like didn't even say no thank you, like just never replied. And she was still watching my stories, loving on my stuff, just being so nice. I was like, okay, well, this will be my 4th invite, and she hasn't said anything. So like after this, like I'm gonna leave her alone for a couple months. I kid you not. She was like, okay, I'm ready. What is this MM100 about? You gotta tell me all the things. And I'm like, okay. So it really is in the follow-up, but you have to have a follow-up. What do you have to do? You have to send the invite. You've got to get the numbers, because it really, really, really is all about the numbers. So let's see if I have any other advice if I've rambled on. So since some of you guys did struggle with like freezing, I'm still trying to also get to the bottom of this with my team, because I'm like, wait, what? Like you freeze like when they say yes? You're not like literally in your bathroom like doing a jig? Because that's what I do, because I answer like all my messages in my bathroom, if I'm being honest. I don't know why I'm always in there. How long do I give before I follow up? So I personally have like a system that I'm very a systematic person. And so like if they say they want information, I give them the information, and then I follow up 2 days later. And then they don't reply to that, I send them another one 2 days later. If they don't reply to that, I send them another one 2 days later. So that's 3 follow-ups. And then if they don't say anything, I leave them alone for a while, probably like a week or 2 weeks. And then when I relaunch my next group, I'll be like, hey girl, I know last month might not have been the best time for you, but I just want to check back in, make sure that you grab a spot before anybody else, because I'm opening enrollment tomorrow. And I really do try to do it before I actually post something or share it in my stories, like, hey, I'm opening tomorrow. I know that you wanted info last month, maybe it wasn't the best time, but do you want a spot now? So that's kind of how I do. And then I follow up or not even follow up, I invite them every month, probably for 3 months or so. And then after that, I leave them alone for a while. So that's kind of how I do it. Yeah. And that's what I've also found with some of the girls that I've been following up with, is like stepping back for a while and like connecting with them. So like even off of my stories, like maybe they didn't comment or like something, but I don't know, like I just find ways to connect with them somehow. So it goes back to the relationship and it's off the sale. And like we're salespeople, we're marketing people, like, yes, we help people, but at the end of the day, so I take it off of that subject. I try to come up with something else. Like I'll even bring it back to old conversations. Like maybe I commented on their photo like a month ago about when they went to the beach, and I probably don't care, I'll be honest, but I'd be like, hey girl, what beach did you go to? We're thinking about booking a trip. Might be a total lie, y'all. And maybe that's not the best thing. Maybe you shouldn't do that. But like I just stirred up the conversation again. Maybe I will take a beach trip. Maybe she knows about a killer dill that I don't know about. But it just restarts that conversation off the cell, and it's now about that person. Yeah, I definitely have the same people that watch my stories every single day. Yeah, that's where I do a lot of my connections, is my stories. I do invites from there a lot too, but like going back and doing that. Yeah, I'm just going back through here. Make sure that there's not anything I missed. All about the invite blitz. See, everybody's so different. Like it just depends on my month. Yeah, because sometimes I'm like, you know what, like this day has really sucked. Like if I send 5 invites, I'm gonna feel really good about myself. So like it's just like in my head, I'm like, I did my job for the day. Like I just won. I'm a winner now.
And that's what I think is so important, is you don't have to have some astronomical number that you're sending every single day. Literally, you guys, if you told yourself in your head that I will not go to bed until I invite 5 people a day, I promise with everything that your business will grow. If you did it, if you actually did it and literally did not go to bed unless you invited 5 people a day. And then if you're like feeling a super specific challenge group, then you can invite more. But you guys, it would take 5 minutes to invite 5 people a day. You can do that in bed before you go to sleep really quick. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like you were saying that you hadn't done it forever because you didn't want it bad enough. And you guys, that's the thing, is you have to get real with yourself and just be like, hey, is this like, am I willing to feel uncomfortable for a while to get what I want out of this? Are you honestly willing? Because if you're not, one, you need to figure out what you want from this business. And you have to have a bigger why if you literally can't send 5 invites a day. Do you know what I mean? So I just think that don't let yourself go to bed unless you do those numbers. You have that non-negotiable. You're not giving up until you do it. Whether life is crazy one day or life is not crazy, it's always going to be crazy. There's always going to be things come up all the time. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and it truly is like, yes, at the end, we are in the people business. You are so right. But like the success in this business, don't let anybody do any other way. It's consistent numbers. It's doing those things, and you don't need to do a large number, in my opinion, depending on your goals. You do not need to be sending and funding a day. It's about being consistent because that's all I'm really proud of what I've done in the last 6 months. And that just literally came from thinking something that I really did today, or like Kelsie said, I had those invites. And literally, oh, that today. You go send.
Yeah, Kelsie, I think your video, it was all, I didn't understand what you were just saying.
Oh, man.
I didn't know
I was
it was my internet.
somebody said my name. No. It was not. That's good to know. I don't even know where I was on my rant.
I don't even know. I have no idea.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm trying to think what I was saying. Yeah, I was basically saying, though, and I won't say that too much because I think you guys heard that, but it's like, yes, we're in the people business, but at the end of the day, don't let anybody tell you different. The success is in the numbers. There are some days that, like, I'm messing up again. No! It's my internet, Cozy. I told you.
It's got to be your internet.
My boyfriend owes me a new freaking router. Am I freaking out again?
You're good. Maybe just, I don't know, every time you like go onto your rant.
Okay, maybe I'll try and stay still, which if you know my team, they would be like, well, that's impossible. So what I was just, but like there have been days where, and I'm like, yes, 20 invites. Is it messing up again?
You're good.
Okay. 20 invites. Yes, that was awesome. Like that was like, I was on a roll. Like I'll just go. And that's what I was going to say. Like the way I invite, I either go off a post from my stories, or sometimes somebody's just like on my mind and I just need to invite them. And that's what one thing I started doing, because I was like, oh, I haven't connected with her long enough. I just like stopped saying that to myself. Like if I keep like not even just seeing her stories or her posts, I'm just like, I keep thinking I want to invite her. That's the universe talking to you. Go invite her, because that girl's going to find another coach. But at the end of the day, like, yes, you have those 5, you don't need that 5 minutes of sleep. Like there have been days where I've laid my head down and I'm like, crap, I forgot to send my invites during my lunch like break. Like maybe I got caught up messaging people back. I will get up for those 2 to 5 minutes. Freaking sucks. And that's the thing is that really you have to take the emotion out of it. Am I messing up again?
It was for a second, and I just unmuted myself, and then it worked. So maybe it's mine is messing yours up.
I don't know. Long story short, it's in the numbers. Like you just have to be consistent with that and take the emotion and the fear out of it. And don't get me wrong, the first ones are going to be awkward, but it's not awkward on their end. It's awkward because you think it's awkward. There's not like, especially if you're using scripts and you're just changing a couple things, like it can't be awkward. Like it is what it is. It's an invite. And so you just have to kind of let it go and be in the universe. You just have to be consistent with it. And I'm not going to lie, like when Cozy was giving her little thing and I was like, yes, that's awesome. But like I was like 6 months ago, I would listen to like Cozy and Micah say stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's so easy for them to say that. Like, yeah, that's because they're 6 years into it. And I'm like, I was saying those things, but like, how do you get to say those things if you're not consistent? And so I might only be 9 months into being consistent, 3 years into coaching, but 9 months into being consistent. But look what I've done in 9 months of being, I'm just like, that's what it is. So like, if I'm consistent for 6 years, like, I mean, hell, I'm going to be as cool as Cozy. So I'm good with that. So it just really is just being consistent. Yeah. So that's the only thing I would say is like, yes, I was super annoyed by what I'm saying right now and by what Cozy was saying of like, yes, I get it. Invites. Okay. Easier said than done, but it really is. It's just sending them. It truly, truly is.
It is.
All right. I talked way too much.
No, that was so awesome. Do you guys have any questions? Specifically, I know you guys answered some of this. Did you go, Carmen asked how you personally track, like Google Docs, Notebook. Did you talk about that?
No, I did not. And I do remember seeing that. So it's funny. I also don't ever think that's something that I am learning now, don't ever forget that you can change the way you do something, or try something new, or when you learn something new, like to implement it for a little bit. So right now I currently track by just Instagram. I need to get better at Facebook. But I really am just flagging and I follow up that way. So once somebody, like I'll send out like my 5 to 10, 20 invites, whatever it is. And the girls that say, yes, send me info, yes, send me info, like the 2 or 3, I will flag them of like, I sent them info, like that's done. I've got that done. And then I just go back and follow up with them every 2 days that month. And then let's say that, or like came through that month. They never ordered their pack. They didn't decide to join our challenge group. I will put them in my challenger follow-up pod on Instagram. Picture, and it's just like a challenger follow-up, or I have a coach follow-up as well. And so that's how I'm currently tracking. I'm wondering if I'm going to go back to paper, because like, yes, Instagram is my jam, and that's where like 90% of my people come from right now. But I'm noticing that I am letting Facebook fall way too far off the end. And I need to maybe get back there and send some more invites, start using those stories a little bit more, and tracking. So I probably will go back to pen and paper for a little bit and see how that works for me. But that's how I'm tracking in Instagram.
Yeah, and you guys don't have to do anything fancy. Literally do what works for you, because there's so many different ways you can track that work. It just, if somebody's doing it a certain way and that's not maybe how you like it, it's not going to work for you. So find a way that you'll stick with and you'll be consistent with, and just do it. Okay. I'm a pen and paper person.
Yeah.
Kelsie just saw my millions of notebooks, but it's
yeah. I was gonna say, and I think that was the thing for me, is like I tried the pen and paper on the tracker for a while, because like I was like, I am such a pen and paper person. So I was like, that has to be the way I do it. But every time I would, like I said, I do like all my work during my power hour, like at lunchtime, I'd forget my book at home, or I would leave it at the office. And I just leaving it places, and I was so frustrated. So I was like, how the heck am I going to do this on my phone? And so that's for me personally. So you really truly do have to figure out, and don't be afraid to change it. Like, stick with it for a while, because you can't figure out if it's work for a while, but give it, I would say, 3 to 6 months. If you still hate it, it's not working, you keep forgetting your notebook places, you need to maybe try something more virtual. And so yeah, that would be my thing, is just keep trying stuff.
Yes.
Any other questions? True. Maybe I should try that. And I use Google Sheets at work all the time, so that'd just be convenient.
Yeah, and I know like Diana does a lot on her computer, because she's in front of a computer all day, so that works for her. So you gotta just figure out what works for you. Okay,
yeah, that's a good idea.
Carmen, question on challenge groups. So when I invite to a challenge group and they ask, do I have to buy something? What do you say?
Okay, so what I say is, that's a good question. I haven't had, so the other thing I will say, and this was super annoying when other people would say this, but like now my people know. I'll be honest, like they know there's something, like there has to be a value that goes with me. And you'll create that as you're like sharing more and showing up in your stories. They're like, I know I can't have this for free. Like they'll figure it out. But now I remember in the beginning getting this question, I'm like, duh, girl, duh. But what I say is like, what I did in the beginning, I was like, joining my challenge group is completely free. But yes, to get access to our workouts, our superfoods, all the stuff that's helping me get results. Yeah, that stuff is, but it's all bundled up into one thing, and it's a one-time cost. Like it's not a monthly cost that you hear about all the time. And so if you hear that, I would totally send that in a voice message. I personally would not message that like in a text, because no matter how you say it, they're probably gonna be like, oh, okay, so I do have to buy something. So, but by putting your personality and positivity on it, you get to say like, girl, you can totally jump in my group for free. Because I have some girls that are doing like Orange Theory 3 days a week, but then they also do our home programs. And then they eventually just go to our programs full time, because they're like, oh, I can't afford this, or, oh, I'm not getting results. And so like letting them in is totally fine. But now I let them know, like, yes, to get in initially, you have to do these things. You start with the challenge pack. I don't think challenge pack, but yeah, you have to start with the bundle. It's totally a one-time fee, and it's totally worth it for the community aspect. Okay.
And yeah, I think that's exactly what you would say. Perfect. People are funny that you can get what we do for free.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like that. I always go back to like, yeah, there was like, I thought this, and I let people know how I felt when I was, it's a one-time fee. Like that is nuts that I allow people to stay in there and just soak up my awesomeness. But yeah, I wouldn't say like, oh, it's not like, yeah, I hate that response too. Like, oh, it's not free. Like, no, it's not free. What do you mean? But yeah, I always tell them that it's like, I go into describing it. Like, it's Netflix. And you can totally go into it of like, no, girl, it's not free. But it's like the best deal that I know of currently, because I paid for a personal trainer. I did like all the things. And so that is another thing, like get to know that person, like go look at their stuff. Like, are they doing CrossFit? Maybe you don't need to jump in and say like, yeah, but we have this Netflix of workouts and you only pay once a year and it's really awesome. Like say, yeah, but it's this nutrition program. I think you really need to get your hands on it, girlfriend. And I say girlfriend though. It's so I think that making sure that you know that person. Let's see, how often do you have a challenge group? Do you have multiple challenge groups or personal one, or you join with other coaches? So right now I have my own challenge group, and I remember that being so terrifying back then. And now I actually have coaches that add challengers into it. So what I personally do, and I know this is different for everybody because I just keep hearing how different it is for everybody. I, yes, am only talking about Morning Meltdown 100 right now on my stories and my post, and that's just my style because I need to focus on something. But I kid you not, I had 3 people that joined with Ultimate Portion Fix last week, and then like, so those conversations aren't just like, this is the only way you can get in. Like I always, like that might start the conversation, but I can tell like this girl doesn't want to work out. She really needs to focus on nutrition. And I only have one group though. Like, yes, right now I'll post about Morning Meltdown 100. But I like strip them of the number. Like it doesn't say workout 32 out of 100. And I've almost stripped it down out of the workout too. And that's just me personally, how I'm doing it. Like it really is just the graphic, because I don't want to go and find another graphic and it's all planned out right now. But I use like, hey, how are you feeling? Or how is this going right now? Just super, super basic. And then I have people that are in there doing different programs. But I just have one group just because I feel like the energy of everybody doing the same program, like at least those people that are doing, because I'm not huge right now. So the people that might be doing 21-day fix, or maybe they're just doing the nutrition program, at least they get to feel that energy. And I'm not kidding how many people are jumping with Morning Meltdown 100 too, though, like challengers that have been doing Lift 4 for like a month and a half. And they're like, okay, I need to do Morning Meltdown 100. Like they're not going to be on the same day as us, but they're like, I need to do that. So I think that's interesting. Let's see.
Yeah, and Carmen, when the time comes that you want to do your own challenge group, there's tons in the Google Doc. There's tons of things, resources that you can post. You can schedule all your posts. You can schedule like a month out in advance, so it's super easy. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to like, when you do get to where you want to do your own, it's fun. It's fun for your people to see your face and stuff. So, but don't feel like you have to do it right away. Totally plug your people in to the bigger one until you feel ready.
Yeah. And that's what, for my coaches, they plug theirs in to ours right now. And I had one that was super, and I loved her for it, super ambitious, and had like 2 or 3 coaches, and they're running their own group right now. And it is awesome. But then again, she keeps coming back on our other group because she loves the energy in there too. So we had a chat of like, hey, like, is it best for them to jump in? And they did, to have an environment. Is, and that's what's cool about this business, and you guys know that, like, it is yours. You get to decide, do you want a challenge group with you and your best friend, and you guys just want to hold each other accountable? Is that what you guys would vibe off better? Or do you want to use the big group, probably, that Cosie's running, where that energy is just high, and learn how to work your own challenge group? And these are not newbie questions. These are questions that everybody has, including me. I always want to know what other people's challenge groups look like, always.
Yes. Somebody have any other specific questions for Kelsie? If not, we'll let her go. And for people that are on the East Coast, thank you so much for doing this. I seriously, everybody wants to be on your team because you're just so much fun. I'm sure everybody can agree. Like, we all want to be friends with you. For real,
thank you. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that back to inviting, just make sure that they can hear that in a voice message, or if you're texting them, like make sure that they get to know you. Because that was one thing I was like, okay, I'm just going to use this script. I'm going to get but then I started like really spending like maybe 2 to 3 minutes figuring out my voice and then sending those.
Yeah. Yes. So true. Okay, guys. Kelsie, seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just loved it and took an awesome video. I'm like, someone likes to use her hands. So
yeah, you're for sure. You're correct. My coaches are like, stop this. And I'm like, I'm trying. So I try really hard, but I'm not very good
no,
at it.
And I think that's, people want to be around that you're fun and you always want to, like, you're just high energy, and I love it. So super awesome. So if you guys have any other questions, I will send the recording, but seriously, guys, just push send the invites, have a minimum that you do not go to bed until you do it. You guys, your business will grow. It absolutely will. So thank you all for getting on, and thanks, Kelsie. Loved it.
Yeah.
You guys will have an awesome night and a good set time. Okay, see you, Kelsie.